bye. Climb every tree across land and sea. I make you go bye.
Oh, of course, after the best, we save the worst list for last. That seems to be how it works. Hey guys, Harry Thomas here, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my top 10 worst movies of 2024, which I will be ranting as fuck like a steaming kettle at these pieces of shameless shit that don't deserve to be acknowledged as movies, that they are that horrendous. And boy, did 2024 have some of my least favourite movies of all time. And it was one of the most empty and underwhelming years for comic book movies, thanks to last year's strike. But without further ado, if you want to see my fun mini rants, because I have done the full rants and some rants are still yet to come on these, then just keep watching. But before we get to the main course of these disaster pieces, let's give some dishonourable mentions. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, A Quiet Place, Day 1. Now to the primary top 10 worst list. At number 10, Kung Fu Panda 4, the most disappointing movie of 2024. Kung Fu Panda Snore, Kung Fu Panda Bore, Kung Fu Panda Chore. Because this fourth entry in the karate butt kicking franchise from DreamWorks, without Jennifer Yu Nelson in the director's chair, greatly suffered. Mike Mitchell, what the fuck, man? You a splendid job wrapping up Shrek with Shrek Forever After. You could make that good, but not Kung Fu Panda 4 good. I mean, this was one Kung Fu Panda too many, and by a landslide, the weakest of the four. It's way too play it safe, childish tone, barely any dark or dramatic moments from the first three. The Furious Five were done extremely dirty and should have not have been. I wish the Furious Five were in this one. Why would you replace them with Aquafina Zen? Even bringing back Tai Lung was a disappointment. He didn't do anything special. And the Chameleon, wow. Talk about a disappointment of an antagonist. I am outraged that this movie outgrossed How to Train Your Dragon 3 The Hidden World as the highest grossing Universal DreamWorks movie, and the Wild Robot deserved to make more money than this. That said, Tenacious D's Baby One More Time was the one saving grace of this film. But I was too generous to it, not giving it a rant at the time. At number 9, well, if only I saw what most people saw in this movie. I mean, I've seen people call it one of the most underrated movies of 2024, just because it's flown under the radar more than other blockbusters. But I'm sorry, this movie simply wasn't for me. I found this to be a colossal step down from John Krasinski's Quiet Place movies, and just because John Krasinski directed it, I feel that's why people give it a pass so easily. That doesn't mean it's a great movie. We could have had a wonderfully endearing family classic, but instead, while Kaylee Fleming, she is the one bright light that does keep this movie afloat. So yeah, she's is one of the child actors of the year for sure. But Ryan Reynolds should have just stuck with Deadpool and Wolverine. He feels completely out of place here, and and the ifs that themselves, yeah, came off as way more obnoxious than charming. Especially Steve Carell's if Blue, whose jokes were so unfunny. But even watching Daddy's Home Tour would make me laugh more than watching another minute of Blue trying in your face to be funny. John Krasinski is no comedian. He clearly can't write comedy like he can write a suspenseful horror. At number 8, the Garfield movie. Oh, talk about a catastrophe. I mean, what is it? So with modern cat movies are being shit. Nine Lives, pile of shit. Cats 2019, pile of shit. And now Garfield. Don't even get me started on this version of Garfield. When the live action Garfield movies are more watchable than this, you royally fucked up. How did more people go and see this over Furiosa back in May this year? I mean, it's just yes, the animation is more true to the style of the Garfield comic strip. It still looks far too Illumination-esque and far too plain and flat. And Garfield, reuniting with his long-lost father and on going on a road trip and taking down a villain. It's the definition of lazy, predictable family movie storytelling, and I don't care that Garfield has an obsession with cheese. If I wanted to watch a movie with cheese, I'd watch the Wallace and Gromit movies. At number 7, Megamind versus the Doom Syndicate, and it made my brain explode with how awful it was. I mean, DreamWorks, you had 14 years. This crap was the best Megamind sequel you could come up with. This loathsome, uh, uh, effortless garbage. Like, that has an animation too bad for even a TV budget. And I mean, you can tell the animators rushed as hell and were pressured as hell to finish this one. This is one of the only DreamWorks sequels to be a great deal worse than its predecessor, which is not normally the case for DreamWorks' sequel reputation. You can't blame Will Ferrell for not wanting anything to do with this tripe, and Kung Fu Panda 4 was okay to watch in comparison to this. At number 6, Harold and the Purple Crayon. Ah, what a pathetic fucking joke excuse for a premise for a film. I'm sorry, but Zachary Levi, you thought this family movie about a magical purple crayon would be your next big hit after the Shazam duology. This was your paycheck movie, buddy. I hope you're happy. And my god, the visuals are some of the shittiest in a family movie, period. And Zoe Deschanel, Jovi from Alpha, she also deserves a great deal better than this. This was one of the who gives a shit's August dumped movies this summer. And it's like the filmmakers knew this was doomed from the start. But moving on from a movie that made me feel sickly and purple inside to a movie that made me feel so ill, it made me feel fucking seasick. Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie. Oh, talk about the biggest FU to a SpongeBob on its 25th anniversary. For shame. Worst SpongeBob movie in a nutshell. Get it? Because Sandy has an addiction to nuts. But whoever thought it was a good idea to have a villain like Tsunami, a fish cuddling cyborg, and to have the majority to still keep with the CG live action tone must be nuts. Sandy's Nutty Nieces, that episode is a way more Sandy's Nutty Nieces is way more wonderfully written episode of SpongeBob, and feels more like the perfect way to honor Sandy and her family than this pile of shit. At number four, a fourth installment that's so indescribably shitty. It's made me forever disown the Despicable Me franchise and wash my hands of it forever. I never want to watch one again. Despicable Me 4. Ah, Illumination. Stop uh, giving us 100 Despicable Me movies that we never even wanted. This is the definition of a product. It is screaming for you and your kids' cash with no story, just a bunch of shitty subplots that lead to nothing. And my good pal Frozen Wish Studios doesn't overhate this movie. He has every right to despise it. Every time the minions were on screen, it's as if they paused the movie with the remote and just punched you a smack in the face. That's how much it hurt to watch them. I want to wash the minions. I want to wash the never-aging kids. I want to watch that cockroach villain right out of my fucking hair and send them on their way. At number 3, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. Yeah, but I this is this is what it's come to. The first Blood and Honey had no right to exist, and a sequel has even less right to. So fuck the Blood and Honey franchise with a burning passion. It is it is it I do not think it improves over its predecessor just just with more budget put into it. Still, beyond traumatizing to watch a Pooh and his friends go on a blood bath and slaughtering Capes. That Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees had chained me up and were doing forensics on my body. That's how agonizing it is. It made Christopher Robin an even worse and more hateable dick in this one. And the new female character, she is far from a good, strong female character. There are so much better than her. I could name an entire novel of strong movie women that leave more of an impact than her. This it's still sexist and still kills off mostly women. And screw the Mickey Mouse horror, screw the Bambi horror flick coming in 2025, screw the Peter Pan one, just screw this entire horror childhood universe. At number 2, the death of the Sony villain verse and the death of comic book movies itself, Craven the Hunter. You are gonna need all these just to survive this piece of fucking shit. It is a disaster of Goliath proportions. It has now dethroned Amazing Spider-Man 2 in my humble opinion, and takes the cake as the worst comic book movie ever made, period. It's a movie that's out of shits to give. We are out of shits to give with this failed as fuck Sony villain verse, with Venom 2018 being the only good one and a true guilty pleasure. But it's gotten progressively worse and worse with Morbius and especially now Craven the Hunter. I mean, this Aaron Taylor Johnson flats wooden as a plank. Still don't get the appeal of him as an actor, and the and even Ariana DeBose, she can't save the movie because the fact that she gives him this bottle that's brings him back to life and gives him these superpowers. How the effort did the writers pull something like that out of their asses? And the rhino is forgivably atrocious. I mean, the Amazing Spider-Man 2's Rhino deserves an apology now. Yeah. Yeah, and I think we all knew Craven the Hunter was going to be the worst of the worst. Nobody had any hope for it. Whatsoever. Yeah, if you thought Madam Web and Venom the Last Dance were failures, you have not seen anything yet, so you will not believe your eyes with how dog shit this is. And it would be number one if not for the king of bullshit. The number one worst movie of 2024, and my least favorite movie of all time is it's it was never a surprise. It was the easiest to guess. Mufasa, the shit gang, and I will always hate you. Did I mention I hate this bullshit? If I were Gordon Ramsay on an episode of Hell's Kitchen, and one of the team served me this horse shit on a silver platter, I'd be like, you can't serve that shit. I am the most dissatisfied customer. It is the worst canon destroyer and disrespects the Lion King established law in the worst way. Has the worst, most out of character depictions of Mufasa. It especially butchers Scar's villain's origin story. Has the worst movie antagonist with the most non-existent villain song of all time in the form of Kyros. Clearly should not have tied into the Lion King 2019 remake, but should have been hand-drawn animation tied into the original 1994 film. Now Disney wants to make a theme park ride at Disneyland based on the live-action Lion King movies. Just to hell with that idea. And Timon and Pumbaa nearly made me feel like death itself. They had their interruptions were the bad versions of Lion King 1.5. When Lion King 1.5 did it, it was legit funny, but here it was absolute hell. And why are the flying fuck are they even in a Mufasa prequel? They never even met Mufasa once in their freaking lives. They were only here to get the kids in the audience, which is not justified. I am proud to call Mufasa the Shit King the worst movie of 2024. Woo! Woo! Yeah, some of these turds I despise more than I could ever express in words. Well, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoy my list. And what are your top 10 worst movies of 2024? Please comment and let me know. Please like this video and subscribe. Please follow on Twitter and on Instagram. And I'll see you next time when I share my top 10 most anticipated movies for 2025, as we only have like 2 days left over this year now. So Happy New Year to each and every one of you and your loved ones. Hope that 2025 is extraordinary for each of you. And remember, movies are us. Bye, guys.